They say he was born on the internet, a simple image, photoshopped into an old photograph, lurking in the background behind a group of children. At first it was harmless, just a creepy post on an obscure forum. But something about that faceless figure in the shadows felt different. Something about the tall, thin body in a black suit, the way it didn't quite belong, made people uneasy. And soon, the stories began to spread. People described seeing him in the woods, at the edge of playgrounds, standing still in the corner of their vision, never moving, never blinking, always watching. His figure, impossibly tall, sometimes 7 feet, sometimes 9, with arms that stretched unnaturally far, like strands of shadow pulling toward you. In his face, there was no face at all, just a pale blankness that the human mind could never quite process. The first encounters were dismissed as internet hoaxes. People claimed they'd added him into pictures or created short films for fun. But then came the strange testimonies. People swore they had seen him outside their windows. Entire groups of children whispered about a tall man, waiting for them beyond the tree line. A faceless thing that wanted them to follow. And slowly, Slenderman escaped the internet. He became something else. An urban legend, yes, but also something older, darker. They say once you notice him, he notices you. At first it starts with dreams, endless forests, corridors that never end, shadows moving just out of reach. Then the sickness follows, headaches that grow worse and worse, sudden nosebleeds, hallucinations, a sense that your reality is being bent and twisted around you. Electronic devices glitch, cameras distort, radios fill with static. And then, one day, you vanish. Whole towns began to whisper about missing hikers and children who never came home. No blood, no footprints, no signs of struggle, just emptiness. But those who swore they had glimpsed something before the disappearances always said the same thing. A tall man in the fog, a figure in a black suit, standing so still that he could have been a tree, until he moved. Some believe he is nothing but a creation of fear, born from our need to believe in monsters. But others trace him back centuries. The native tales of the tall man who wandered the woods at night, stealing children who stayed out too late. The Puritan whispers of the black man, a faceless being who offered forbidden pacts. The German stories of Der Grossmann, a shadowy figure said to stalk misbehaving children in the 16th century. Different names, different cultures, but always the same description. Always the same faceless man. And yet, what makes Slenderman so terrifying is not what we know, but what we don't. Why does he seem drawn to children? Why does he cause madness in those who see him? Why does he linger near the edge of cameras as if feeding off the fear of being recorded? And most chilling of all, why does it feel like the more you learn about him, the closer he gets? There are people who believe his presence grows stronger when his story is told. That every time you repeat his name, every time you imagine him standing among the trees, you give him shape. You bring him closer. Perhaps that's why so many of the missing were last seen wandering into the woods, as if compelled by something they could not resist. Perhaps that's why the symbol carved into trees and walls, the circle with the X through it, appears over and over again. Some say it wards him off. Others believe it marks his territory. And so the legend sprang, and so the legend spreads, from photographs to stories to whispers, from whispers to sightings to disappearances, from the screen in front of you to the space behind your window. You may laugh and tell yourself it's just a story, just an internet invention that went too far. But remember this, every story has to start somewhere. And if you ever find yourself walking home at night, deep in the woods, or alone on an empty road, and you feel the hairs on the back of your neck rise, don't turn around, because if you do, you might just see him, tall, faceless, silent, waiting.